Hello, this is Divine Sunshine on Divine Unisouls 11, and this is the Playground Experience. We have our lovely co-host Kathy D, April Williams, and guess who came to join us on the swings? David of Soul Mission. That's right. He just said, "Come on over, you guys," and we're like, "Yay! Let's have things together." All right, today's topic is defining the divine masculine. I think pretty much of us all over, we have an idea of the divine masculine from the divine feminine's perspective, but today we're concentrating in getting it from a real life specimen of a divine masculine ourselves. We have right here on the show here, and he's a willing participant too, so that's always great. So, so we're going to talk about. We kind of talked about it before we got on air about the energies that we're all experiencing. So it'll be an interesting twist to see how we are experiencing them similar, although we're housing different energies for the divine feminine perspective and the divine masculine perspective as well. So, Kathy D, I'm gonna start it off with you. What's happening with you with these energies? How about those energies?
Well, down here in Florida, the energies are quite crazy. I have just had a lot of downloads, and as I have contacted people on the 5D before, where it was just a feeling, and then I would, kind of get phrases and stuff like that. It actually happened last night where it was actually a physical reaction where my head went right into my hands and I started having trouble breathing. And so I understood exactly what they were feeling and what they were going through. But then, and also it's kind of been a real funny, giddy kind of feeling. I know Benita and I both just giggly and giddy and like teenagers.
Okay. April, are you able to talk? Okay.
Yes, I am.
Okay, your perspective. How about those energies?
There's been a lot of kind of transmuting, and oh, he just hit his elbow. And it's funny because, not funny that he hit his elbow, but I've been going through a lot of like physical pain, kind of stuff blocking in certain areas that I'm used to having free. And it's been a whole process of, sorry, hold on, y'all. I gotta go right after this. I'll speak in just a second.
Okay. All right, I'll jump right on in while she handles our nephew. To me, I had a really bad headache. They said that the Schumann residence was spiking, and then we had a thunderstorm here too. And like,
Wow.
which caused me to really, I felt it an hour before it even hit. And so my head was like pounding. And the more and more the thunder and lightning came, the more and more my head was like womp 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 womp. So I had to lay down, and I didn't want to take anything for it. But I've been doing a lot of up and down. Talk about a roller coaster ride. My emotions have been high, they have been low, they've been high, they've been low. Doing that, and kind of irritated. So I don't know if that's me or the DM happening, but I know since we're in the Gemini season, they had already said we're going to be dealing with getting rid of the light and the shadow. I'm gonna stop because I see look like April might be able to talk. Are you able to talk?
I am. So it's been a huge amount of shifting. It's been, but what's been nice about it is there's a centeredness within all of that that makes me aware that these things are shifting, and to not own it as part of the storyline. Like, let's say 5 years ago, if something like this had happened to me, I might fall into the story of the woes of it or the high of it and just identify that as me. But I'm actually calm in this, and everything else is kind of shifting and readjusting. And I'm slowly climbing and leveling up. And it's kind of like when my child is having some emotions come out. I'm aware that these are his emotions and he's learning how to express them. I don't own them as I'm going to go into these emotions with you. And so it's like I'm being guided by God and Spirit to really just be centered. And David's been helping and with the serenity prayer and you know, just surrendering and giving it up to God, because I know that there's nothing that's concrete right now. We're still shifting stuff out as a collective. And even though they're saying we're opening back up and all these things are happening, we all know that we need to do this very slowly because everything is happening. And we're all, like, those in the know aren't pushing for things to be the way they were. We're allowing things to be the way they are and then move forward. So.
Yeah, and it's interesting that from this experience, we're learning truly how to kind of go with the flow of things. We're not pushing it. And even when we see somebody else doing it, we're like, it's collective, not even divines. I'm calling the regular Joes off the street. They're even saying, no, something about this don't feel right within me, which my awareness said, I think we're pushing this a little too soon. And so I can see the growth spanning from just not even the divines, or the twin flames, but just how it's also trickling over, in fact, into the twin flames. All right, we heard the divine feminines at our perspective. Let's turn over to the divine masculine. So how are these energies? How are you faring? What's going on with you, David?
Well, first off, I was really paying attention to what April was talking about, and I am exactly there, where she's talking about her child having his emotions, but she's not in those emotions. She is literally doing what we should all be doing. When we meditate, we become the observer, right? So we remove ourselves from everything that's going on around us, and we just observe that it's happening. And that is when we're actually in acceptance, right? What happens is these dynamics occur that sometimes distract us and pull us into it. Sometimes people try to pull us into their drama, and suddenly we're surrounded by all this energy. What I've noticed happening to me when people pull me in is they attach and they start taking my energy. And my energy, not necessarily are they even taking it, some people might be, but my energy is being used. And then I'm in this situation and I'm not in control of it, but I think I'm trying to gain control of something I'm not in control of. I'm no longer the observer. And we were talking about that's kind of how the distorted energies start to move through us. So we become like a conduit or a conductor for that when we get pulled out of the moment, right? And so I really like that she was saying that, because I've been going through this a lot. Like my emotions I've been clearing a lot of stuff that's uncomfortable. So like really, really deep-seated anger. And then I'll go from anger to sorrow and sadness, and then irritability. And then I'll go into love. And so I'll clear these uncomfortable things. And then as a reward, I guess you could say, I start to feel the love coming in. And then after I go through the love for 15, 20, 30 minutes, boom, it's right back to anger. And so what has happened is and this has been over the course of the last 3 days for me. What's happened is that I was actually talking to you, Bertina, about when I took an action and it like shook up the bottle and all the particles were floating everywhere. And I have to deal with all this stuff that was settled, but it wasn't gone, right? So as those things came floating back up and they're all around me and these particles are all around me, I'm clearing them. Okay, let's deal with this one. Now this one. And at first it was like a flood of all these different emotions that really were conflicting. And what I mean by conflicting is they didn't match up. It was anger, then love, and irritability and joy. Like it was just like a roller coaster ride, right? And it's like really the dichotomy of things, like where we absolutely must have uncomfortable or sadness in order to feel joy, and the level of sadness that we have felt in our life gives us the gauge for how much joy we could have, right? And so I was bouncing up and down, just going boom, boom, and like hitting my head in both directions. And then luckily I was able to help somebody that they had their own problem. And I was like, yes, I finally get to get out of my own problems and I'll jump into this person's problem. And like being of service, when we start to help someone else, it starts to help ourselves, because that's where we get out of ourselves and no longer are we in this point of view of, egocentric, self-centered, me. We start to get into someone else's problem and we can start helping them. And then it's like, whoa, the advice I just gave this person is what I needed for myself, you know? And what that advice is acceptance. And that's why we have, me and other people have been talking about like the serenity prayer and acceptance, because the only place that I actually feel safe is in the moment and as the observer. And so when I'm not in acceptance of these emotions and these things I'm clearing, then, you know, basically I'm not in the moment. I'm not in my shielded place where everything is safe. Because whenever we get distracted, when we get pulled out of the moment, it's not always going to be this, but what my experience is that when I get pulled out of the moment, I'm in the future or I'm in the past. And so the future is fear. So I'm afraid of something that's coming up. And the past is resentment. Something is bugging me about the past. Something is under my skin about the past. And I'm really thinking on it and stewing on it and trying to work it out and get through it. But it's not comfortable because I'm not in the moment anymore. So I'm not in that safe space where when I go into the past and say, wow, you know, I'm really resentful about this situation. And there's really nothing that I can do about it because I'm not in control of anyone else's actions. And these are the emotions that I'm feeling. I guess I just have to accept it. And so the decision to accept is one layer of acceptance, right? Because then we will go back and forth and try to work out that problem a whole lot. So I've been, over the course of the last 3 days, processing and moving in and out of acceptance with all kinds of expectations that I have about how things should be, or about how I want things to be, but not how they necessarily are, right? So when I'm getting into acceptance, I'm finally able to breathe deep, let go, and just go, okay, I'm back to being the observer. I'm going to take a break and I'm just going to chill out. So that's kind of where I've been in the last 3 days.
And what you say there are very good key points about this separation that I think a lot of even the divine feminines or twin flames period across there is in Kathy D, both of us seen on Facebook, where they're having this resistance to the separation. They're not understanding it. Some of them's like, F it, I ain't no twin flame. This is a joke. Why put into this? You know, Kathy, we've seen this that April, she doesn't see that stuff. Thank God.
I'm talking to someone who's going through that. So yes, I was like, oh, it got to me. I thought I was missing it.
Yo, you did. Okay, join in on the club. Come on over here.
Come on.
Come on.
Water's good.
Hey, the water's good. So now, you know, and that's one of the reasons why I did come up with the Sunshine Circle, because I was like, they need a support group. It's the same cesspool of we can't do it. And we talked about you and I knew I was gonna mess up, David, about as far as you know, going on this journey and kind of keeping up with it, that, you know, we're kind of all in different layers and waves as well, and trying to help them kind of keep up the pace to say, okay, we've been there, we've been in your shoes, we know how it feels to get to that point. It's like, just forget it. But then we're like, it's going to get better on the other end of the at the end of the tunnel as well. Somebody's asking me, I'm time jumping and familiarized with this. Somebody says, how did you start your journey, David?
How did I start?
Yeah. How did you know you were a twin flame?
Well, I didn't know I was a twin flame, but I just had all this stuff happen and I was thinking that I was crazy. Like 2 or 3 things happened that made me start doing research. Okay. And it was just meeting her and never being able to get her off my mind. And then not just not having her off my mind, but the way that her energy jumped into my space. And it was like, boom, right here, like right here. Here she is. And I could see what she was doing, and I could see how she was feeling, and I could feel her vibration. And as someone that's been intuitive my whole life, it was like the most intuitive experience that I had. And I was like, holy crap, I wonder, because I was going to see her in 3 or 4 days from that day. I wonder if she's been thinking about me. I think she's really excited to see me, you know? And what I saw her doing, I saw her skipping. She was skipping like, you know, a kid does, like really happy, excited to see me, like when you're going to go see your friends when you're like, 6 or 7 years old, and you're like, yeah, yippee, and that's like the energy that I felt. And then after I was with her in person and we were having actual physical contact with each other, in a non-sexual but intimate encounter, let's just say that, I felt like I was with my wife. And I've been married, and it didn't feel like that when I was married. It felt like I was with my person, and it felt like I was merging with her. We literally collapsed a timeline together, or several, and it was timeless. And then after seeing her 3 or 4 times maybe 3 times, after seeing her like 3 times, it got stronger and stronger to where I could feel her emotions. And when I was with her, when I would leave and depart from her, I was the best version of myself that I ever was. I was the most confident, and I had all my energy. Like I firmly believe the first day I met her, I took my energy back. Like there was a level of masculine energy that I wasn't holding on to that she was holding on to. And when I saw her, boom, I got it. And there was this level of confidence and courage that I had that I never had before, where I could suddenly stand up strong and be confident in everything I was doing. When my energy was being able to be projected to people, and I could touch somebody and they would be like healed or feel loved, that I could be with somebody and they felt like they were with a person that actually cared about them. And what was interesting about that is that I started caring about people, that I didn't have that experience before. I was always protecting myself from people, but now I was caring about people. And so when I came home, I talked to my child, my daughter. I have 17-year-old twin daughters. Yay. And she said, Dad, I think you met, oh yes, I think you met your twin flame. And I'm like, what's a twin flame? She goes, it's like a soulmate, but it's even stronger than a soulmate. And when she said that to me, I decided to do some research, and I did these like checklists, 25 things that might tell you met your twin flame or whatever. I did like 15 of those. And they were all kind of like the same. Yep. And I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. Okay, I may have met my twin flame, but what is a twin flame? And then as I started finding out that this is the other part of my soul, and that this is not just a soulmate or someone that you have had different lifetimes with, this is someone that you are them minus, well, the separation that we share, I believe, is that we have separate egos and separate bodies, but we have the same soul is what I've come up with. And so, yeah, the ego is what separates us from pretty much everything, right? So that when I came across this information and saying like, wow, this is really me being reflected to myself through her, and had that experience where like I woke up in the middle of the night and I was actually her looking at me through my body. And when that happened, I wasn't actually in duality when that occurred. I was completely outside of 3D, but I was actually in my body, but I was her in my body. And our energies enmeshed. This energy of ours, like a hurricane, and everything starts folding into the hurricane. And as we would see each other, we would just converge. And then this sacred convergence was created. And maybe not that it was never created before, but it was created in time, at that time with me and her. And so that was like in July that I think I started realizing that we were actually twin flames. And then the experience got, and then also I had realized that I had a traumatic experience in October before I met her. I met her in May. I met her a year ago. So like today, I met her like 2 days ago. I think I met her on May 22nd of last year. And so in October before that, I had an in-body experience where I don't remember leaving my body, but I was gone. And when I came back to my body, I brought what I believe was 16% of my soul came back to me that I was missing since I was about like 8 to 10 years old. I lost all this energy when I was she's 7 years younger than me. When I was about 8 years old, I had an imaginary twin friend that was my twin and brother. It was my twin brother. And I played with him and he was real to me. And we played together for several years. And when I was about 10 years old, he disappeared. What's interesting is that when he disappeared, a certain percentage of happiness left me. And there's a happiness that my parents clearly remember leaving me around that time also. And so in October, that energy came back to me, and it was, the sensation was jello. The energy felt like jello through my body, like it was moving like jello through my whole body, and it was having like a family reunion. All my energy was remelding together, but it was separate. So it was like bouncing off my other energy and moving up and down, and then it started integrating inside of me. And then this happiness that I didn't recognize for so many years was back inside of me. And that happened in October. And so then I met her in May, and then I felt this energetic enmeshment with her in like July or August, where we were part of each other. And she was with me everywhere I went, and I didn't miss her, and I didn't feel like I had to see her because she was with me. Until when separation occurred, that left also. The enmeshment was over. The cord was like, it felt like I lost everything that I had ever gained. And so I didn't feel the enmeshment or her energy. I felt blocked by her. I felt distraught and abandoned and like extraordinarily hurt. Like I was in severe dark night of the soul. And that was in October. So we had separation. Well, I had the energy come back to me until October. I met her May 22nd. And then the separation occurred in around October 15th. So, yeah. So that's, I don't know. I got lost in everything I was saying. I don't remember the question, but.
You to me, I heard a lot of answered questions that I've been asking about the divine masculine for me. I won't monopolize. I'll see anybody else want to jump in that, but I got an idea, something I want to say, but I'm gonna let my co-host jump on in there. So anybody want to add to or something? You got an aha moment from David?
Well, it's kind of just nice to be acknowledged. Even if he's not our twin, it's nice to have and hear a DM acknowledge the experience as being so intense, because it's very intense for us as well. And I'm feeling the energies of the different people watching the program, and some of you are in your proper stages of growth, and some of you are nursing karmic situations.
Yeah.
And switching, and you need to switch gears, right? Because he ultimately, what I heard was he felt whole and complete himself, and that attracted this enmeshment with his twin. And that's what I kind of keep focusing on, is for people to feel that wholeness within themselves, to feel that the connectedness within themselves, because it's not the other person that's bringing you joy or happiness. It's you bringing it to you, allowing yourself to have it, and then it just spikes up a whole bunch of notches when you get in mesh. I love that term. I love that enmeshment with your twin, you know. And there's something that I guess I do want to bring a little bit to light. He is very balanced as a male. He's not overly masculine as a male, right? His energy is both feminine and masculine in terms of his awareness of his spirituality. So like there's a spectrum, right? So there's some questions I have that I'll ask in a little bit about how you balance your masculinity and what's happening with society. Like, how did you do that? But at the same time, I'm going to acknowledge that you're very, very conscious and aware of that, and you're not giving it as an excuse for you not doing something. You're allowing it to fully let you be who you are as this being, as this human being.
And I was, and you brought on a good point, April, which is that David is a good example of how. I'm not saying David is perfect, but we're saying he's a
come on.
Well, yo, I gotta let the people know you're not perfect, man. No, I'm sorry. But with that, he's a good example of how he's balancing. You can even tell that you can feel it. What I can when he weaves into the divine masculine. I say, okay, he's going into the divine feminine energy. He's jerking back into the divine feminine. I can see that bob and weave process through him. Well, I'm not even gonna say that because that sounds like a divine masculine, like I'm trying to define him in a box that say he's easy, he can express his emotions. Most divine masculines or masculines that I have met, I'll say from my experience, they can't put words to their communication as far as where their feelings. And to me, that's when you kind of throw into that divine feminine thing where he can put voice to it. This is how I feel, my intuition, I'm aware of it. That's my experience. I'm not saying that's for all divine masculines, but that's the ones that I have known, that the communication doesn't flow as well for them to put voice to their emotions. This is what I'm saying. What I hear from you also, you explain a lot. I think for me, in my experience, is that with the divine feminines, we have our joy when we meet our divine masculine. I can say when I first met my divine feminine, I'm a divine masculine. I seen what David's talking about. I seen when it jumped in, it was like he got like a little kid all of a sudden. All that joy jumped into him when the first time he seen me. He lit up like a Christmas tree. And so you put you answered those questions, like what happened when he first met me, because I could tell. And is that also maybe one of the feelings of why the divine masculines feel like, I keep on saying divine feminines, divine masculines don't want to let you go, because it's like, that's my joy, that's my bliss. And they see that in the divine feminine. That's another thing. It's like, if you go, then every time there goes my happiness, there go my peace. It goes right on out the door. There it goes. With that. And so I think that's another reason why the divine masculines kind of have that hold, and they don't want to let go of the divine feminines too. You answered that question to me. That's what I heard when you were talking as well. Kathy D, I hear amen from you. What you want to add?
I just recognized with a lot of what he talked about, through the union, through the phases, and then the separation. But I do want to add in kind of on something both you and April said, and that was about the happiness. We need to remember it as if you have a pet and your pet makes you happy, and that's fantastic. You enjoy your pet, you love them. But when something happens to that pet, by you saying they're your happiness, that would then mean you could never be happy again. So I want people to really get that to sink in, because they may make you happy. You enjoy the person you are when you are with your twin, but please understand your happiness and your peace and all that has got to come from within. It's not their responsibility to provide that to you, and it's not your responsibility to provide that to someone else. So we have to really be careful with how we look at that. And I've seen, and we've talked about it with the comments and stuff, and in other websites and things like that. They're not your happiness. You liked the person you were when you were with them. They brought out the very best in you. You felt whole. You felt complete. Yes, but you can still feel that in separation. And once you get to that point where you feel that, then you're good. You've got to get to where you feel that. And because to understand, to say that person is my happiness, you're then saying, or that thing is my happiness. If that went away, you would never be happy again. So we have to be mindful of how we say that.
That goes for the divine, because I got to be cautious. That goes for the divine feminine and the divine masculine, not just one energy.
Right.
Oh, now I'm gonna throw it over to April. Now go on, because I want to make that disclaimer before somebody says they going there. They going them divine masculines again. No.
No, the divine feminines are notorious.
That person. Go on, April. Take the ball.
So we're stepping away from codependency. That's what we're talking about. Just stepping away from codependency. It's okay to be in need. You know,
Right.
you don't have to be a freaking super heroine to get your masculine, or you don't have to be a superhero to get your feminine. We actually are attracted to each other because we feel that happiness, but we're also offering of, I found that we come together because we're of service to each other. Like we need to, like we fill a niche for each, a niche, a niche, whatever. We fill something for each other, and we come into this space of offering a loving, nurturing kind of energetic exchange, and then it goes into like a full whirlwind of entanglement and enmeshment of enjoyment. But it's not codependent, because as soon as we fall into that, because I'm thinking about what happened when I met my twin. Man, I was not in a super happy. I was weeping. I was processing. I was releasing. I released so much, and then I stepped into doing something for myself that I needed to do to feel stable and to feel safe. You know, I needed to do something. I was taking a particular course to let myself have an extra level of security for my particular project. And so I stepped into that, and that person there met me there and saw that I needed that support, and then showed up, and then we balanced in a very interesting way. And so, you know, we do this. I like the DNA thing we're doing all week. It's just like, boom, boom. Because things are happening like waves. Energy is traveling like so much, you know, and we are now awakening this within us, within the collective, by even putting out this video. We're letting you know that this conversation can be had. And so what within you is resisting you? What within you is not allowing you to accept, right? Because there's something about releasing and being able to accept the next level, and then freeing yourself from different types of dependencies. Like there's several layers to it, but this is the time for us to manifest this earth where we are all connecting with our twin. So let's do it. I guess, can I ask a question?
Yes, you may ask a question.
So, how did you begin, David? How did you allow yourself to be able to be so expressive of your emotions? Because I do see what Divine Sunshine is saying, and I'm used to men basically grunting and or walking around with a club.
I'm tired of saying you, Jamie.
I think for me, there's no choice. This has to come out, because I'm not going to hold on to it. Because when you hold on to all that stuff, it gets layered and compacted, and it just starts. It begins to become impossible to identify what the hell am I feeling anymore. You know, like where we don't even know who we're upset with. We don't even know if we're upset. We don't know if we're coming or going, right? So I don't think that it's how I got this way. I think it is just how I am. I've always been expressive. I will always tell people, I won't always tell people things if I understand that it's not going to help anything. I don't need to express myself to everybody. But when we're when we are together in this platform, talking about something as important as what we're going through, this experience needs to be talked about and understood, because for me, I thought I was going fucking crazy before I knew what it was. Sometimes I still feel that feeling, but I know, and it's okay. It's like, I have talked this week with both Bertina and April, and it has helped me, you know, because this is the support system that I have created for myself, where I'm allowed to be a twin flame, because nobody else that I know besides my daughters knows that I am a twin flame. I mean, maybe there's one other person, But this is a part of my life that doesn't get to be expressed to people because they don't understand it. They're never going to understand it. And their energy is going to get in it if I talk about it. And that energy, it just fucks everything up. You know, they need to stay in duality and I'll stay over here. And I'll go into duality to deal with them and to give to them and to take from them. And when I separate from them, I will go back over here where I can look at I can observe duality, but I don't have to play in it, you know? So like last night, I want to tell you guys about this. Last night, I was clearing masculine energy and I was lying in my bed and I was going, I ain't doing the playground tomorrow. I'm ghosting them. I'm ghosting everybody. I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't want to talk to my friends. I don't want to talk to any of my friends that are part of the Twin Flame community. I don't want to do the show. I want to disappear. And I cleared it because I was going, that feels real comfortable to not have to deal with this, right? I was feeling the energy really in a masculine way. And I was like, I don't want to deal with all this stuff. I don't want to do this. I don't want to be part of this journey right now. And then I realized, well, you're going to do it because you're going to clear it the right way. Because if I could clear not wanting to do something instead of ghosting, then we can all take that energy as a template and we can recreate not ghosting over and over and over again, right? So the perpetuation of ghosting was what I cleared last night. And I believe I did it for all the viewers. I believe maybe I wasn't the only one clearing that. Maybe I was clearing it with my twin. Maybe I was clearing it with your twin. Maybe we were clearing it as a collective, but it got cleared last night. And so we can move forward into whatever this portal is, right? And face things, finally face things. And, you know, one of the things like with, I talk a lot about not chasing, because I believe that we, us and our twins are stepping in and out of our sacred selves all the time. And when we are with our twin, we are all forced into this sacred space. We're in a sacred space. And when we separate from our twin, the distortions start to come. When we're together, we're all powerful. When we separate, the distortions come. And I believe that the distortions cause the separation. The fear gets involved. Remember I said, if you have a distraction, you're not the observer anymore. You're not in the moment anymore. Now you are taking part in the future or the past with resentment or fear. And then that acts as a conduit or a conductor for the distortions to come through. And then we clear those distortions. And so I feel like when we, if we take action and we chase our twin, and they're not really ready for us yet, but we really just got to see them, and we go up in their face, they're going to be forced into sacred space. And then you're going to get a dose of medicine from them. You're going to get a taste of them. You're going to get an opportunity to be in their field. But as soon as you separate, distortions are going to come back and you're going to go through another separation. And so I think that's what causes that ghosting, because these twins of ours, I don't really feel it from my side. I'm sure that I have some karma I'm dealing with, don't get me wrong, but I feel that my twin is dealing with the ancestral karma that doesn't want the paradigm shift. It's like they're like, come here, and they're holding on to her. And she's like, get off of me, you know? And I feel like last night, clearing that ghosting energy is kind of like all of us expressing that we are okay and we are allowed to face our problems. You know, we can do this. We could do it together, and we could do it as a masculine and as a feminine, or whatever we are on that day. Because, well, sometimes I'm in my masculine, like heavier and masculine, and sometimes because I don't identify as a masculine. I don't identify as a feminine. I identify with that present moment where I'm at and what am I, you know, feeling, you know, and I don't believe that just because I'm dealing with fear that I am the masculine either. We're all like,
No,
we all created these words and these labels to identify things, And I think at times those labels give people a false sense of ego. Like, I'm ahead of my twin. Well, if your twin's here and you're here, you're not really ahead of them, because the energy's tempering. Energy's going back and forth, right? So you're not really ahead of them or in better shape or more important or less. Like, nobody is better than or not as good as. Everybody is, we're all equals here. We're all just as important as the next person. And we need to love each other like that and nurture each other that way. Like, because as soon as ego steps in and we think that we are ahead or better, or that we have more to offer, that's bullshit. That's a separation energy.
Sure.
We need to be, I'm not saying that we are always going to be optimistic. Sometimes we have to clear negative emotions and negative energies. In order to clear those, we can't be like, yay, so we feel it. That's how it clears. We feel it. But once that whole energy wave comes through and you can see that it's gone, then we get to feel that uplifted, weightless feeling of being content or in the moment or happy. And then in that moment, when we're in that space, it's almost like all of the distortions and false mirrors are untouched. We're untouchable to all that that negative energy that's trying to go through and find its own path.
I hear a divine masculine asking this question because they stepped from the form. One of them said, I hear you, and it's like, I want you to go into your divine masculine self right now. And it's like, how do you deal when you got your friends? It might be my DM. How do you deal with your friends and your family, and they're pulling you in a whole different state in your distortion, and you trying to rise above it so you can create this separation from this third party or whatever the energies, what situation that they're in, let's put it that way. And they're like, how can I do that? How can I do that when I got everybody's up in my ear telling me that, this is good for you? And I'm like, this is not, I don't resonate with this, what I'm in right now. So what advice would you give to a DM that's like, I want to get out this situation, but my family and friends in this spot?
Okay. Well, I think this has to do with self-worth. And honestly, if from a male perspective, a masculine, tough perspective, you pull up your skirt, you grab your balls, and you do what you're going to do. It doesn't matter what everybody else thinks. That's the biggest problem, is that everybody out there is worried about what everybody else thinks. And if I do this, what are they going to think? The biggest illusion about the whole thing isn't that they're afraid of what they're going to think. They're afraid of what they might think, right? So you don't even know what they're going to think. You are projecting what your fear is about what they are going to think. And you don't have to even tell them all that stuff. All you have to do is make a decision that your self-worth is important, that you are more what is healthy for you, and you standing your ground, and you don't have to do what everybody else's expectations of you are. If they have an expectation that you need to do something, you need to really look at that. Do I really need to do this for them just because they want me to? You're not here to be leached off of anymore energetically. I'm saying that to the divine masculine, but I'm also saying that to divine feminine. We as individuals, as divine counterparts, right? We are not here to fulfill everybody else's expectations, because the truth of the matter is, when we fulfill our own expectations, when we start to realize our own happiness is the most important thing, then we can better help other people around us. And the ones that are leeching off of us are going to fall away. And just to tell you, my experience, a year before I met my twin, I lost all my friends. I don't have friends anymore. I have friends, but I don't have my old friends, okay? They don't want to hang out with me. I don't want to hang out with them. They don't understand where I'm at. I don't try to explain to them where I'm at. They might say, hey, we were going to go do this. Would you like to go? Well, if I want to go, I will go. But what I noticed the most is the people that were trying to keep me in that karmic energy are the people that were trying to throw guilt at me all the freaking time. Like, well, what do you mean you're not going to do this? You got to do this. We're all counting on you. We did this for you. No, you actually didn't do it for me. You did it for you, and I was there. Stop bullshitting with me. Get the fuck out of here. Because the truth of the matter is, honestly, I still have anger for the because I allowed myself to be taken advantage of for so many years. I'm 44 years old, and I stopped letting people take advantage of me like a year and a half ago. So I was unhappy, and I was healing people, and I was living up to other people's expectations. And my twin is living up to other people's expectations right now, because it's so hard to break free from, because that is the energy that that is the paradigm shift that we are actually performing right now by having this conversation, by having a twin, by having met our twin. We are breaking those tentacles of control that has kept us high vibe, high energy, beautiful souls down, that's been holding us down. And so what does the masculine need to do? He needs to grab his balls and say, get the fuck out of my face. I'm going to go now. I'm going to go do what I want to do. And I'm not going to do what you want to do. So that's all there is to it. See you later. No means no. And so it's like, when somebody asks, this is important information right here. This is what I did. When somebody asked me a question, I realized something. They're asking me a question. They want an answer. It doesn't matter if my answer is yes or no. That is the answer. So when they say, well, what do you mean no? Blah, blah, blah. Well, hold on a second. No, you asked me. I told you. That's it. I'm not going to explain to you why or why not. None of that even matters. You asked me if I wanted to do this, and I don't want to do it. If you want to do it, you go and do it. I'm not here. I don't have an obligation to explain everything to you anymore.
Just while you saying that, I just felt like scared. Just
Yep.
running through my body. I felt that. And then I seen April grab her throat like oh, like I don't know why she did it, but they made me think like something about the throat and they're not being able to voice their opinion too. But I'm shaking.
Well, I'm actually clearing it right now. Like I'm actually going through it. So when you asked it, I'm feeling the energy of me living up to everybody else's expectations, and the feeling of being like that feeling of being controlled and pushed down and being oppressed. The feeling of being one of us, and I know that you three ladies know what I'm talking about. The feeling that we have going through our life is the feeling of being oppressed and being undervalued and being used and being not appreciated, right? And trying to make everybody else happy around us and do everything that we can for them, and then they're never happy, So I'm actually clearing that energy by you asking the question, because I still have pent up layers of that energy within me. So I was actually clearing it right now. I feel it totally. So
yeah, I got real thick in my throat as you were talking about that. And but I have a question. As you talked about, when we're together and we're in that divine space, what about people that are at a distance? So they're not.
Wait, geographically or energetically?
Right. Geographically.
They're not. Okay, go ahead.
So like when we talk about when you're together, you're in that divine space, and even when you're apart, I understand you be in that divine space, but that's when everybody starts pulling because you don't have that. And how do you explain that to somebody that how would to work on that or to work through that? Because there are a lot of people that are at a distance from their twin. Like there's no chance of me running into my twin in the grocery store. It's not going to happen.
But distance is relative.
Yeah.
That's all relative. So I'm at a distance from my twin, but she's probably more than likely in my town right now. Okay. I have a friend who was really upset because her twin was going to move to a different state. Okay. Now I want to explain it the way that I explained it to her. I have a job and I'm a mechanic. And I have a service business, okay? And I go to people's residences or their businesses, and I work on their machines, okay? Now, I have a list of let's just say I have 8 people's places that I got to go fix something at today, right? And the next person that I have to go work on their equipment is down the street from where I'm at. But I don't have their part in my truck. I got to go to a completely different town to get that part. But as I go to the different town and geographically I'm going further from them, I'm getting closer to getting their job done. Because once I have the part, which is 30 miles away, now I can actually do the job. So now geographically I start getting closer. But the truth is, the closer I get to having that part is the closer I get to getting their job done. So when people move at a distance or people are at a distance, there is something that they need in that location that they can't go to the next step energetically with you until they get it. There's an experience or a person that they need to handle. Grid work needs to be done. There's a piece of something where they're at that they need to handle before they can geographically come closer anyway. So I really feel like distance, geographical, meaning 3D distance, geographical distance is the illusion. And also like when we talked about the enmeshment, like when I meditate, I see this constantly. I'm always seeing the energy coming in through my crown like that. And I see a lot of this going on around me. I see a lot of hourglasses with sand going through them, with the DNA helix around them. I believe the message that is being given to me is that our DNA holds its own time-space continuum. And in that time-space continuum is where this union is taking place. And that's why all these, I felt like all week I was in a different timeline than the rest of everybody else. I felt like I was like in this timeline and kind of like not necessarily misunderstood, but unable to jive, right? Just unable to jive with people. But so like when I had separation, then I literally had the energetic separation where there was no more enmeshment and I couldn't feel her energy and I couldn't see her and it was agonizing, right? And but like about March or April, I started feeling her energy coming back and the enmeshment started up again. And that powerful energetic union began being filled within me to the point where I decided I wanted to contact her, right? So so I think that when it's time, and it's just the answer is divine timing about the geographical 3D closeness, right? Well, when it's time, we will be geographically close, and it's different for everybody. And I think it's very interesting that I moved out of where I'm from, out of where I wanted to be. Like, I like water. I'd rather be with April or like by the water. I'm from California. I'd rather be there, but I'm sitting in Arizona. I find it very interesting that I moved to the same town that my twin is from. I find it very interesting that I'm down the street from my twin right now. I find it very interesting that even though I'm in the same town, even though I'm in the same neighborhood, that I haven't seen her. Right? And so lately, I haven't seen her lately. I do see her occasionally, but we don't like converse. We are in separation. We don't have a talk. We see each other in passing and we don't speak. So I don't know if I answered your question, but that's what I think about that.
Yeah, you did that. I love that with the example of the part. That makes a lot of sense. And it's as we heal ourselves, we're getting those pieces of us back together. We're actually, no matter what the distance is, we're actually getting closer to them than further away. So yeah.
So that distance is an illusion, right?
Right.
Because if I'm on my way to get the part, but I'm moving further away from my client, I'm actually closer to getting the job done. So the idea that I'm geographically further is just an illusion. It means nothing, right?
Right.
Yeah, because you can be in the same city and still don't see each other. And it's like, okay, or whatever. So that is an illusion. Let me try to see.
And like April, I was talking to April the other day, and she's in Hawaii, and I could feel her energy.
Yeah,
I can feel your energy right now. We all can feel each other's energy right now. We're in completely different parts. Well, I don't know. You're in Chicago. Where are you at, Kathy?
I'm in Florida.
Okay, Florida, Chicago, Hawaii, Arizona. Look at the spread. I mean, that's pretty cool. We went from the East Coast all the way to the West. I heard they're going to build a freeway to go to Hawaii. A bridge.
Yeah.
I want to, since we're clearing energy right now, how do we, the other side of ghosting, right? Because if you're clearing ghosting, we've got to clear our anger towards it or our resentment towards it, or how do we step into that? I want to step into that because, you know, even when I go into I still want to tell them off in my imagination. I can connect with them energetically, but I'm having a little bit of a fussy time here, trying to just let go of it without talking too much about it, right? Because that's one of the things, we love to talk, but you can't talk something into transmutation. You have to let it transmute. So any advice for that in terms of?
I think his energy, I think what's happening is the masculine's energy is moving into the feminine, and the feminine is working this out, and that's that anger and resentment and resistance. And when the feminine starts to work that out, it goes back to the masculine. And the only thing I can tell you is that what I've been doing about this, because let's be honest, I didn't ghost my feminine, right? I ran, but I didn't ghost. And my feminine ran also, and she did ghost. So whatever that means, or whatever labels we want to put on that. But for me, what I've been doing is stepping into the serenity prayer. So the breakdown and the process of elimination. So God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. So I'm praying for wisdom. Okay, now let's pray for the wisdom. Can I change this or not? Yes or no? If I can change it, God, give me the courage. If I can't change it, God, give me acceptance. Mm-hmm. And then we go back to observing and being in our space. And then probably within a few minutes, we start getting pissed off again. And it's like a really relentless, tedious thing to go back to that prayer over and over and over. And I know you have that Hawaiian prayer too. That's super helpful. Like what I do when I'm upset with somebody, I do this energetic thing. Or actually, it's more like when someone's upset with me. I imagine that I'm handing them roses. And I imagine they're taking the roses, and I'm handing them, and I'm handing them, and I'm handing them. And it's the same, the energy that I feel when I'm doing that is that that Hawaiian, what is it? Ono hopo.
Ho
no.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when I'm handing them roses or flowers or a gift, that is the energy that I feel when I'm doing that Hawaiian clearing prayer.
Yeah, I apologize. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. You say that, and that clears and transmutes across all space and timelines. Whatever thing act that has happened between you and the other person. With that one, can you also you gave me a tidbit last night, and it's really been helpful too as well, about acceptance of people that might be in like karmic or third party energies as well. You gave me a nice tidbit where I've turned it around, or acceptance of the energy. Let's say like Kathy D say, the distance, I got to accept it. It is that. You gave me a nice little tidbit. Can you share that with them too as well, David? Do you remember that? Am I picking that? Like, which one did I tell you?
Right, I told you a lot. So go ahead and give me specifics, and I'll tell you whatever that was.
It's about, yeah, you did. You gave me about being able to accept it is like moving in. Is the thing about hearing noises, and I applied that to accepting. Your thing where you say it's okay. I love the noise. It's bothering me that way. I thought that was a good thing that you can apply as well to situations, that something that you don't want to accept. You talked about repelling too. How you
was I talking about distortions and sacred space, or
you were talking about if you keep on wanting things and disliking
resistance. Okay, resistance. Yes. Okay. So the trick is to meet with equal resistance into something. So when I start to resist something, right? Let's use the analogy of being on the freeway and the guy in front of you isn't even going the speed limit, right? He's not even going the speed limit. And you have somewhere to be. Doesn't he know that you got to be somewhere? And so you get right up on his ass. You're just up on his butt and he starts slowing down. You get closer and closer and closer, right? And the more you resist that, the more it comes back at you until you decide to change the game. And what you do is you say, okay, I'm not going to be all the way into resistance. I'm going to back off a little bit. So you start to back off. You get behind him 30 feet. Suddenly he starts to speed up. Now you have met with equal resistance, and you've backed off enough for them to back off also. And so when we resist something, anything, something we dislike, it's usually like the viewers will identify this as whatever it is that you're like, that always happens to me. Why does this always happen to me? This just happens to me. It doesn't happen to everybody else. Well, it's because you're in resistance to it. And when you're in resistance to something, that is a sure way of manifesting it into your life. You are manifesting what you don't want because you're resisting what you don't want. And so what I do is I embrace it. So I was talking last night to Bertina about, I have, well, I shouldn't say I had a condition called misophonia, right? Which is where certain noises make me freaking crazy. Like I want to just kill somebody, right? And I just want to like just scream or get out of there. I can't handle it. It's like instant anger. And one of those noises is when somebody is crinkling like a candy wrapper, and they're just crinkling it and just crinkling it. And they're getting the candy out, and they're doing this thing. And then as they're getting the candy out, I'm thinking, all right, well, I can't wait till they get the candy out and throw that fucking wrapper away, right? And then they get the candy out and they put it in their mouth and they start playing with the wrapper. And I'm thinking, I knew he was going to do that. Why can't he throw it away, right? And as I resist, he continues or she continues to do this thing with this damn candy wrapper. And so what happened to me one day is I said, you know what? I'm not going to resist this anymore. I'm going to embrace it. So I said, you know what? I love the sound of that candy wrapper. Now, was that true? No, that wasn't true. But I was able to pretend like I loved the sound of that candy wrapper. And as I pretended that I loved it, I got into that. And the resistance started to back away. And lo and behold, within about 15 seconds, that guy took the candy wrapper and threw it away. Now, as soon as he did that, I was sitting next to a guy who had a styrofoam cup in his hand because he was drinking coffee. And he finished his coffee and he took his fingernails and he was pushing it into the styrofoam and it was making this god-awful noise. And I'm thinking to myself, what the heck is going on here, right? Well, what was going on is I was given an opportunity to practice what I had just practiced. So I began to embrace it. It was showing up for me, not to me. I'm not a victim. Okay, I'm not a victim. I'm being given opportunities all day long to resolve things that I don't want to have in my life. And the only way to not to have them in my life anymore is to embrace them and get out of resistance and start to love what I don't like, right? So I said, I love the sound of that styrofoam cup. And the guy got up and threw it away. He was playing with it forever and he got up and he threw it away. And I started feeling this release. I started feeling this sense of ease. And what ended up happening is when somebody started making a noise that I didn't like anymore, I wasn't automatically resisting it anymore because I had something in my toolbox to deal with it. And so what ended up happening was whether or not that person stopped doing what it was that was driving me crazy, I actually began to learn how to embrace it. And in the actual practice of embracing it, it stopped becoming something that drove me nuts, right? So I don't have misophonia anymore. It doesn't affect me anymore. I'm not resisting it anymore, and it's not showing up in my life over and over again. So anything that you say, that always happens to me, you need to stop resisting it or back the resistance off. It's good to meet with resistance. So if you like go fully into resistance without like screaming at somebody, like you just go into like, oh, I hate this, and then back off a little bit, like I hate this, and then I strongly dislike this, and then I don't really like this, and then it's not so bad, and then I can handle this, and then I love this, and then it stops, right?
Yeah, and I'm being brought, and it helps with that. And I think I'm also applying that to those that are in separation and those that have the like the third party or the karmic situations. The understanding to take that energy. And I think Jupiter 1111 had said that one time that sometimes what's keeping them in this situation is the karmic of you, the karma of you keep on resisting that they're
Yes.
in the situation. So you using that technique helps you just like, okay, you know what? Hey, I'm all right with them over there. They're learning their lesson. They're loving their
Yes.
experience. Hey, I'm all right with it. Then
Yep.
before you know it, then it draws them to come back. But when you
Right.
like, oh, I wish he hurry up and get rid of that, yada yada yada, and it creates that more of that resistance that's going on. So
Right.
I wanted to bring that how that technique could be bought for that. About they always don't answer my calls. They don't ever respond back to my. I expected that to also how you transferring that to be in those them being in those situations. How you got to change the perspectives and shift things around as well. April, did you want to add something? Usually when you rise up, you're about to say something.
I'm feeling the energetic kind of shift, and being called to work on specific parts of our fields
Okay.
to allow us access to our highest self, and then go into twin. Because when we hit the resistance, there was parts throughout our conversation where the heart was just connecting and opening and shedding off those layers.
Mhm.
But the root is attached to some kind of story. Yeah, the root is attached to some kind of trauma. And it's because we're older in the twin flame union sect. If you're a child, you do not have to deal with you do have some kind of karmatic stuff and some ancestral stuff, but you don't have the built-in trauma as much, and the rehearsal of the mind. We've
Mhm.
rehearsed a lot. So it looks like third eye clearing.
Yeah.
Looks like crown
Whoa.
balancing.
What is going on over? That was amazing.
My son is saying, "Let there be light." He works in interesting timing.
Tell them to let it be light.
Illuminated. Yeah. So he's funny. He's cool. He's a cool and very intuitive child.
Well, the shadow. I was seeing the energy. I was seeing the shadow, but I thought it was the energy as you're moving your hands and talking about this. It was like multi-dimensionally paralleling what you were saying, right?
Yeah.
So,
The crown.
Yeah.
Now I'm seeing it. I'm getting
sound effects, lighting effects over there. Yeah. So what
wrong,
I'm gonna time it at 108, and let's just move into. I think we hashed it enough. We're gonna move into the healing portion. So April, you're gonna kick it off since Spirit told you, and then David is you're gonna do that balance of the divine feminine and divine masculine, that kind of way there, so we can have that. So we're gonna let you start off with April, the healing part that you feel that's into it, and then I'll let David too. What's happening?
well, I'm
David?
gonna actually step away for just 2 seconds because I got to get some water, and I'm done with my ice pack.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, no problem. So she'll take it from there.
I'll just be right back in like
I won't start
literally
till you
10
get back.
seconds.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
April, Kathy, was it something else you wanted to add? Your mind aspect, your Jedi mind.
I'm so happy you love this. She's like super close to union. I was really interested.
I guess now this is more of like a question, and
Okay.
kind of with my mind thing. Here we go. But now I understand with and I embrace it. I like the fact of saying I'm okay with him being over there. You know, it doesn't bother me. That's okay because I know he's healing, and that makes him quicker to come to me. I got that. But here's my question, and now I'm getting it. Thank you, you two. There's somebody asking, but I thought I wasn't supposed to focus on the negative. I thought I'm only supposed to focus on the positive. So am I supposed to dwell on that? Should I journal about that? Or do I just, when it pops in my head, I say that and I let it go? So, there's those two schools of thought, like I would highly not recommend anyone do a 5 by 55 with that. I'm so happy he's with his karmic, and learning his lessons. But then also, what I'm saying? So there's some
the mind. We have let our mind run idle, and society does not promote focus. So a lot of us are wishing and bringing in things we don't want. Instead of dropping it and moving on to something else, you're focusing on, well, that never happens, or I always want that, or this never happens. That does not allow you to manifest what you clearly desire. You need to be clear about your energy, your intentions, and what you want to create. If you're going over the story over and over again, okay, journal about it, cry about it, burn it, that journal, and let it go. But when it comes back again, because we have trained our minds this way, because we're older and society has built us into this habit forming, we allow it to distract us from what we actually desire. So you get to say, okay, I see you coming back. It's all right. We see you. I accept that, and I apologize to myself for letting me get stuck in this thought pattern. But I'm going to allow myself to be free, and it gets faster and faster because it's about training, and the muscles, neural pathways that you've have been built around this story, and the ego attachment to your feeling like you've been wronged or whatever it is that you're going over again.
Yeah, that was kind of my question, because I knew there was going to be somebody that was going to get that confused, because I could see him. Okay, I'm focusing on. I know it, you guys. I'm focusing on him being there or her being there. And so, April, that was a wonderful way to explain that when it pops up, you just say, it's okay. I'm good with it. I know he's learning his lesson. It'll be okay. But we don't dwell on it. That's not a thought.
Sorry. And you're also accepting yourself and saying, hey, I know I'm resisting. I'm pushing him away with that. And it's okay that I did that, but I'm going to get better. I'm getting better at it. I'm getting better at it. I'm getting better at less resisting, right? And then you stop using the word resistance even, and you say, I'm getting better at attracting. I'm getting better at allowing. I'm getting better at
accepting. Yes.
Yeah.
Right. And let me put the astrology and spiritual kind of thing, energies is what's happening now. It's very important that you do correct that, because we're at a point that manifestation is quick, fast, and it's instant. It's overly saturated. So if you don't practice what Kathy did and April was saying, you're going to start manifesting the opposite with it, because it's at the point that you can think something and it just automatically will appear. That's just how.
And you're starting to.
What you say, April?
Or even symbols of it coming, like you say the word person, and then randomly on a TV screen or in the radio or something, they're talking about people. You're thinking about the color blue, and then all of a sudden a big blue bird flies at your face. Like it's really fast what's happening right now. So
and there's some we need to say about that too. When you see these things happening, this is not just a coincidence. This is just not a fluke happening. Please remember, everything happens for a reason. You've thought that. You've brought it in. So my example yesterday was I went to get stuff for dinner last night in there. We got a ham, and it happened to be from the state where my DM is from. Never seen that brand before. Okay. But it was funny. I looked at it and I saw it and I'm like, okay, I get it. Thank you. And then the price of it was $13.31. So then I got the mirror numbers on it, and I'm going through the grocery store laughing and all giddy as if, he was there. Other people would have said, well, what? Look at that. What a coincidence.
Right.
We've got to quit not giving it the power it has. We've got
so
to be
funny,
in like
he was calling you. He was saying like, you're his ham. Or he's your ham.
Yeah, that would be pretty much it. So yeah.
Raised you with honey
and brown sugar. But anyway, we have to be really mindful of these, and just like April said, things are coming in, really quick, manifesting really fast right now. And so we have to be really mindful, and we have to kind of transmute, David, like you were saying, as you get that anger and stuff. I think going through that and working with it when you recognize it. The main key, I think, for a lot of people that don't understand it yet, is that so many of these emotions can come up so many different ways. And we have to be able to recognize these emotions and then deal with them, and deal with them right then and there. This is not something that we can just let sweep under the rug. This is not the time to hide from it or turn our backs from it. When it comes up, we've got to deal with it. Even if it's just in our minds that, all right, I recognize it. I recognize I'm aggravated or upset or angry or whatever. And we might be in a situation where we can't, deal with it at that moment, but realize that that's something you're going to have to go back and deal with. And I think that's an excellent way. We've got to learn to handle things right now. And from here on, because once we are in union, those are the kind of things that we have to be able to deal with, to recognize, and to work through.
Oh, all righty. I'm back. Are you able to, April, go into the meditation? You got the baby. Are you
Let me
on
see how
swap?
it goes. I'm pretty sure it'll be fine.
All right.
He's going to lead it.
He's an instrument of the divine. I
There he
can't hear
goes.
created this being, so he's on top of it.
Give him
Okay.
the drum.
Okay, so let's take some breaths together. Let's just take 3 breaths together. I find that to be a really good number. Let everything out with a sigh. Just relax inside the body. Ooh, yeah, I feel everybody's opening up. Oh, interesting. Something's coming up about power, and that's that solar plexus. Okay, so let's see here. Let's take our hands and put them over our third eye. We're just going to clear the space because we know we're together. We know we're here. Yeah. And we know we're on in our divine way linking. Okay. Okay, I'm seeing some cloudiness, some fuzziness, some blockness. We're going to release old paradigms. We're going to release old stories. We're going to release hurt and resentment, some stuff that's just floating around the mind. Go ahead. Go a little bit further away from your third eye, everybody. I want you to float in the aura, in the space of your third eye. So as your third eye begins to clear, here we go. Move your jaws, open your jaw space, shake your jaw a little bit. Allow that energy to flow, because we are no longer holding on to those old words or those things that we say to ourselves. Oh, you got some resistance? Oh, some of us are really tired, huh? Tired of the same old paradigm. Okay, go ahead and comb it back. Like just scrape it back over your crown. There you go. Oh, okay. I see some resistance to the masculine energy. We're afraid of that power. We're afraid of that rejection. Again, we see the old story, and it's not necessary. It's okay. It's all right. And how do we do this? We let it go. I'm doing some weird faces, so you can like look. It's opening up these different slight energy channels, because there's like little blocks right here. I can feel them all. I feel them on the right side. Okay, I'm gonna pull all this stuff out of the brain space that's no longer needed. Ooh, there we go. Let's keep breathing. Keep breathing. Ooh, that calmed it. That calmed the storm. Here we go. Yeah. Okay. Now let's stoke our fire of our solar plexus. So I'm just kind of pumping the air, like pulsating the air, like just allowing it to go in and out. So you're doing this around your third chakra with your hands. Your third chakra. Here we go. Your belly.
Okay.
We're expanding the energy. We're allowing it to grow. We're allowing ourselves to be empowered and motivated to set ourselves free. And when and if these cycle back, our twin and ourselves are allowed to see it and feel that we are more powerful than it. It's just a memory. It's just a thought. It's just a blip. We are here connected. Let's take a deep breath. Breathe it in. Your solar plexus is strong and bright. Okay. Now we're going to go into our root. We're going to anchor it in. And then we're going to send the energy like a big donut. We're going to allow it to come back through us. So we're at the root. Go ahead and move your tail feathers around. Kind of adjust a little bit. There you go. Whoa, tap your feet. There we go. Okay, that's a good one. Okay. Breathe in the energy from the heavens and let it go through our center, through the third eye. Fine. Allow it to go through all the way into the root, into the ground. Out through the feet, and then it cycles back around, and the energy has been transmuted and changes, and it comes back into the crown, pure and more authentic, and then out through, down third eye, throat, heart, solar plexus, sacral, root, out through the knees and feet. And it comes back in. Just keep breathing. Just keep knowing that the cycle is continuous. So when these thoughts happen, or anything cycles through, it's okay, because that's what happens. We are a circulatory system. We are growing. We are growing in love and light. We are growing into our highest self. We are connecting. We are our divine selves. We are our balanced masculine and feminine energy. We are. I am. I am. I am. Okay, here we go. I'm going to pass this baton over to you, David.
That was nice. What am I doing? What are we doing?
Whatever you feel inclined to do. Whatever you feel.
Are we talking about something, or am I doing?
We're energy healing. We're energy working right now.
Uh-huh.
We are empowering ourselves and each other to be.
You want to do the beach ball?
Sure, whatever you.
Okay. Okay. So let's continue the meditative stuff. I can do the bowl another time today or whenever, but let's take a deep breath in and just hold it. And let it out. And hold it out. And breathe in. And let it out. Okay, first, just imagine that our feet are tree trunks, and we're just growing roots into the ground, and we're just getting grounded. And these roots are going down and out, and they're getting a really good footing into the ground. And we're imagining that they're growing down and they're growing out. And as that's happening, we're actually starting to feel more grounded. more stable. And we're going to create a grounding cord attached to our root chakra. And my grounding cord actually has these strands on it like a DNA helix, but it has several more than 2. So you can do that if you want, or if you have your own grounding cord. We're going to run that down, 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 past all of the stuff in the atmosphere between us and the center of the planet, and it's just going down, and it has found the core at the center of the planet, and the grounding cord is anchoring, and it is now connected. And now we are going to pull in 30% of the Earth's energy up through the cord, and it is going to fill our entire body up through our feet to our knees, coming up through our waist, up to our heart, and right up to our armpits. It's now overflowing into our arms, down from our hands to our elbows, shoulders, neck, and we are fully filled up with 30% of the Earth's energy, and we're going to let it go right back out. And I feel a really good crown activation right now, which is perfect timing. And the energy is just draining out of us, going right back into the earth where it belongs. And now we're going to allow our source, our God, our higher power, whatever that is to you, the universe, source, God. And he's going to put this golden energy is coming down from that existence in through our crown, and it's filling our body. It's coming up all the way past our knees, our waist, our chest, our head. And we are completely full of this golden energy. And now this golden energy is expanding out into the room that we're sitting in, and it's filling up the room. And now it is filling up our house. And now our house is filled, and now it's filling up our town. The golden energy is expanding out through the city, and now it's expanding out through the county, and now it's expanding out through the state. And we have this golden energy getting closer between us, from Hawaii to Florida, up to Chicago, down to Arizona. Golden energy is filling up the space between us. And now that golden energy is expanding out from us, and it's going around the world, across the Atlantic, across the Indian Ocean. And it's just, the whole world is now full of golden energy. And now, imagine that this golden globe just came right into your crown, and it manifested itself right into your hand. You have this golden globe, and imagine that your twin is just sitting on the edge of the town that you live in. Your twin is sitting at the edge of your town, and I want you to take that golden globe. It's like a beach ball, and I just want you to throw it, and it's traveling through your town, and it's getting closer to your twin. And your twin sees it, and your twin is getting excited, and your twin is now catching that golden globe. That your twin is now holding this golden globe. And your twin is very happy. And there is a cord attached to that golden globe, and you have your hand on that cord. And I want you to pull that cord in. Your twin's holding onto the globe, and you're pulling in that cord, and she or he is getting closer to you. And your divine counterpart is floating through space and is getting closer to you, and you're pulling them in. And now here they are. They're sitting in the room with us. Your twin is sitting in a chair opposing you, holding this golden globe. And the golden globe now splits into two. And now your twin has two golden globes in their hand. And your twin hands you one of them. And so all of us now, we have a golden globe. Our twin sitting opposing us is holding a golden globe. And we're going to take that golden globe and we're going to bring it right into our heart chakra. And it's absorbing into our heart. And it's assimilating. And it's going right up through our crown back to source. And why don't you take this time now and say whatever it is that you'd like to say to your twin. Whatever you want to say and how much of it you want to say. And now that you've said what you had to say, why don't you now listen to what your twin has to say to you? And now go ahead and take one last deep breath and hold it. And release. Okay, whose turn?
That's it there. Well, we got healing. Let me see. It's usually my turn. Okay. We'll just do the overall energies that we should be working with for the divine feminine and divine masculine, because we kind of went both, but they're really both of our energies. And then you say it's a surrender. Where's those surrender cards at? And that's it, because we talked about the thing about surrender too. Okay, so for the divine feminine, don't have my glasses on, but that's all right. We're going to wing it. I'm going to put it up there close so you all can read it. Clear. For the divine feminine energies, this is what we should be working with right now. Whoa, I got to put it way out here. Sappho, the poetess, I love every inch of my body. This came out before. And I love the woman in my life fiercely. Let's see, it's right here. Can you see it? It's kind of that way. I think it's in front of that thing. There we go. Okay. So this is really loving the skin that you're in. Who are you identifying with at this moment in your divine feminine energies as well? You could talk about the different types of bodies. What you got, the ethereal body, oh, I pulled them out. Oh, that's interesting. You told me to bring that out. The angels want to talk. That's interesting. What types of bodies that we're in? Our mental body, our spiritual body, our hurt body. So really learning how to take those bodies and embrace where you actually are. And then love the divine feminine, your emotions that you're actually in, and love yourself fiercely as well. For the divine masculine energies, yeah, that's not it. The angels want to talk. Excuse me. Woo.
What does your shirt say? I am
a dope chick. That's what it says. Let's see what the divine masculine in your ultimate self. What does it want to say? Oh, we got it. For the masculine. Let's separate. Yep. Let's see. I'll say clear. Ah, right here. Notice warmth and growing pleasant. Warmth and growing and pleasant. To me, it's almost like it's saying get in touch with the softer side of seers. Remember they used to have that? Clear. It's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to be gentle. but at the same time, you need to be structured. So you're growing. Be okay if you're getting in touch with the self-centeredness of yourself as well. Pleasant. To me, I'm also picking up like the pleasantries. Some things might not be so nice, but you got to kind of delve yourself into it as well. But do it in a structured way, which to me, what I'm picking up is they're saying like take it like I see in stairs now. So just take it one step at a time, but still be structured, not to be all over the place and haphazard as well in the divine masculine energy. That's what I pick up. And then what do we have to surrender? And then I end with the angel cards because the angel cards came out. They want to speak as well. Clear. So what do we have to surrender for the divine feminine energies? And what do we have to surrender for the divine masculine energies? Divine feminine, you need to surrender to the magic of who you are. We all have magic in us, even in the mundane aspects of life. Remember that you are a magical being with a uniqueness and worth that come from just being you. And for the divine masculine, it says surrender negative thinking. You have control over your thoughts. When negative thoughts surface, say thank you for sharing. That sounds like somebody on this show. Kathy D always say thank you for sharing and quickly refocus on a positive affirmation. We've been talking about this all on the show today. Okay, interesting. And so, what do the angels want to talk to us and say? Angels, clear. Ooh, I haven't messed with these in a minute. These are Ask Angels by Oracle cards by Melanie Beckler. I haven't watched the show in a while too. She's good. She always talks to angels. Inner child healing. So they say we still got to heal the inner child healing as well. Archangel Haniel. Some of us have, I didn't ask specifically. I just said what it was their guidance is about that. So getting in touch. It can go two ways. It could be also, I'm picking up like healing, but then like, you know, the wounds. But I'm also saying get back into that inner child, that childlike wonder. That's what I'm getting. Wonderment.
That's
so
what I'm picking up. Yeah.
That's two different ways. Some of us still got to do a little bit of that, but then it was like, to me, I see a wonderment. And this is what the angels are telling us, to get back into that childlike state.
Mm-hmm.
With that one. So that is the end of that reading. All right. So we are at the point where we do our final thoughts. I knew this was going to be long, but we had healing in this. So let's start off with our guest of honor. What are some takeaways you want us to have, or some final thoughts that you want them to have from today's talk? David?
Well, really, I could just reiterate that try to be in the moment and go into acceptance. And if you're clearing negative energies, that's okay. You can clear them and you can feel them, and it's okay to let them go. And it's okay to step back and become the observer. And it's okay to sit down and meditate and close your eyes and allow yourself to dissolve all the thoughts and all of the energies that are in your field. And it's okay to let those things go. And it's okay to sit back and become the observer to everything that's going on around you. And just basically be in the moment where you're completely safe without having any expectations of the people, of anything around you, from anyone around you. And just be. And I think that especially when you're going through and you're clearing and you're feeling all of these different emotions and you're having that emotional roller coaster, don't forget that you can escape that by just going into the moment. You don't have to go through this really heavy nonstop clearing where you're just feeling uncomfortable all the time, and you don't know when this is ever going to end, and it just keeps going and going. You don't have to let it keep going and going. You can just take a time out whenever you want to. And you don't have to take that time out by using any sort of substances. You can do it just by breathing. And that's about the best substance you can do it with. So
Yeah, very good. Yeah, you can get high off of breathing. Just breathing. Kathy D.
Big time. Big
Yeah.
time.
I think right now one of the main things we need to take away is like we've talked about with manifestation right now. Please be mindful of that. Stay positive. Stay, like David said, in the present, in the now. These things are happening, and if you don't want to see it happen in your life, then don't give it the time of day. Tell those scared thoughts or anything that comes up that maybe is negative, thank you for letting me know you're here, but now get in the back seat and shut up. So we want to make sure that we keep a very positive mindset, especially up until June 5th when we have the first solar eclipse. That's going to be another really big thing that's going to affect us, and it's going to propel us even faster. So if you're seeing the quick manifestations, you've got to control them. And it's what you see is what you get, and not just when you buy corn.
When is that?
June
What you
5th.
And
June
what is
5th.
it? What kind of eclipse? What it's a
It's
lunar
it's a lunar eclipse.
lunar eclipse, and the moon will be in what?
I don't
You
know.
know?
I think I'm not sure. I don't remember. I know I
Okay.
heard somebody talk about it the other night, and I was like,
Yeah.
Cute
Go talk, April.
astrology specialist. Just kidding. We don't have one of those.
Well, after that woman talked last night, I was like, my sign is squirrel, and I'm no longer a Capricorn. Because I have no clue what you're talking about. So
Who was that?
I'm not even sure. It was one of those that just pop up on your news feed, and I was like, oh, this is interesting, huh?
Uh-huh.
So
At least we're ahead of it and we're together and we're supporting each other. The deal is though, we can become addicted to our old paradigm and our old cycles, and we're not going to find normality. People, let the concept of normal go and start to create what it is that you want. Things are constantly shifting. We can also become in habit with certain friends that we automatically go into complain mode with. Like, this is our complain squad. You need to kind of like kibosh those relationships or change the paradigm of it so that you don't end up into that slippery slope of speaking and manifesting what you want or pushing away what you don't want. I hear sometimes people, they're upset with the fact that they're in separation. So I forget it. I don't want him anymore. I don't need to do this. That's what happens, and it prolongs the thing. There's really no rushing, but there sure is slowing down. So.
But we do have to clear that too. So
yeah.
It's crazy.
It's crazy. A little bit earlier about how the extent of joy or the extent of pain is the extent of joy. I don't agree, because a child can come out and be cultivated and come out extremely joyful and then just experience more joy and then more joy. It's the old paradigm conditioning of our duality that we're now learning to balance, even in our language. Sometimes we use absolutes. There is no real absolute except for change. Right? Change is inevitable, but we don't always have to feel a certain way, or we don't always get treated a certain way. So just be mindful.
I did say that when I'm operating in duality, that is the truth.
The paradigm.
It's in that like mode. You're right. I agree with you. I don't think that is an absolute truth. It's just
with my kid. Excuse me.
Okay. Yeah. So I found out June 5th, the lunar eclipse is on June 5th, and it's going to be in Sagittarius.
Okay.
And so they got another one. The last one they said is going to be July 5th through the 6th, the final eclipse, and that's going to be in Capricorn.
Woohoo!
They say, however, that's not the only one. Okay, we got that. I'm reading for now. I'm not saying about you. How about that? Venus retrograde is also occupying Gemini during this time of retrograde, which makes activity surrounding beauty, love, and money a bit interesting. That's all I'm gonna say. So you just push on through it. With that, Gemini is a chatty air sign, and Sagittarius an adventurous fire sign. And these eclipses upon the axis will push us to become more curious and push us to take risk and choose adventure over fear. And so that's what that purpose of that eclipse is, according to was this let me quote, this is your guide to lunar and solar eclipses in 2020, how they'll affect your life. The Allure magazine. On that one. So on this note, let me see. Was it anything I want to add? No, you all pretty much said pretty much covered everything. So I say ditto to David, ditto to Kathy D, and ditto to April Williams. To all of those things. So now, as we close out the show, we want to give another big round of applause to David of Soul Mission for him opening up himself and just kind of just giving us all that good juicy stuff. It sound like it sound like like that. So if you want to get some more information from him, go to soulmission1338@gmail.com, especially if you're divine masculine and you need some advice from a divine masculine perspective, although he is right straight down the middle, but he knows how to shift this energy to say, hey dude, I can talk to you in your language in a way that you understand, mano to imano. Okay, right, moving on. So next we have also, I'm gonna get it right, pineapplefishlifecoaching.com with Miss Kathy D. She can give you those keys and tips for practical living as far as adjusting your mindset. So if you want some good information about how you can be able to do things, she loves journaling, that's her niche. Go to pineapplefishlifecoaching.com. And then we also have, gotta find you where you're at, don't play around with me. All right, for our own Hawaiian goddess, made for this goldenlife.com of Golden Life Unlimited. She has her own, I still saying she's got a corporation of people that she's working on. And like a field, it's like a field of like an army up there. They want to help you to turn this life into a golden life for you. And so if you need somebody to help you with the meditations, and like she did today, give you guidance, finding out where things are being housed within the bodies through the chakra, different parts, she can always help you focus in on that and see how she can help shift that energy into a different part of your body, or have it to exhaust out of you, period. And then you also have, where am I at? I know I'm here. See, that's why, oh my God, I'm at the top. There we go. Yeah, you can tell I don't do this for a living. I don't do this flash and dash stuff on the daggone text stuff. Souls11.co. If you want a reading, just like I did, individualized, to see where you are currently, anything about your twin flame, about your mission, what's your blocks and triggers, you can always come to me, Divine Sunshine at DivineUnisouls11.co. And we also have a package deal where you can have a program tailor-made for you, dealing with the mind and the body and the spirit. And that's us all incorporated together. Go to DivineUnisouls11.co if you need any help with that. And you can see also that David specializes in also healing. He does the bowls too. I thought he would want to get blessed with the bowls, but that's all right. He wants to save that for you, that 101 stuff with him, so he can also help to clear that too. And don't forget, please, we got a lot of great stuff happening on this channel. Make sure that you click, like, and share, and subscribe to this channel, as well as you like this playground experience. We might can get David to come to the playground again and play on the swings. We never know. So you might want to be here as well all of the time, so you don't know who might show up on the swings. All right, Kathy D, get us on out of here. Sign us out.
Wishing you your best life ever. See you soon.
And April Williams.
Stay blessed. Stay golden.
Aloha. I heard him. I heard nephew. He's slick. I heard him. And David, do you have a sign out on your thing? Yeah. And don't forget to go to it's David's Soul Mission too. He's got a YouTube channel as well. So
yeah, actually, I'll be posting a video all about acceptance.
Oh.
And I just watched. I don't know if the guy's a divine masculine or not, but he's on the twin flame journey, and he had posted a meditation specifically to clear stubbornness and not wanting love from your twin. And I tried the meditation; it was really good. So when I post that video, I'll have a link in there. And I felt like that meditation worked really good.
Okay, good. All right. Do you have a sign off on your show, or you just like what's your?
I don't. I usually start off with, this is going to be a quick one, and it's not ever a quick one. So
That's the truth. Oh, I hate it when they do that. I'm gonna be in here about 20 minutes. The sucker lasts a whole hour and 30 minutes. I say, wait a second, I look like a light. Okay.
all right.
And always with me, stay uplifted, stay motivated, stay ascending. Namaste, namago. Mwah. Love you all. Until next time, we'll see you at the playground.
Aloha.